Hello and welcome back to another episode of Outsourcing
Outsourcing
and
and more.
More. I am Francis,
My name is Penny.
and here, hi. Sorry, just
Hi.
I cannot get over this. I doesn't she look pretty? I get to keep her all for myself, at least for the next half hour. I'm not used to getting compliments, are we?
Nope.
Yeah, all right.
So anyway,
Smooth. So what we have today, it's a fairly interesting topic.
Yes.
I was to be fair, I've been reading up on it, and I feel like I'm a little bit of a loss and how to maybe discuss this in a manner that won't piss off a lot of people, but maybe we will end up. Hopefully, if you agree or disagree, I need your voice. I need you to tell me that I am either wrong or if I'm getting it right. I wish it could be interactive, but we'll see what the comments say. But our topic right now is okay. To be very clear, the topic says why no one wants to work at your company, and I feel like ouch.
a little bit harsh.
It's a little bit harsh.
Tiny bit.
Maybe I wanted to say like tweak it a little bit. The way I understand what the topic is asking for is why no one wants to work at your company. But I think from a company perspective, because that's who we want to address
Yes.
and who we want to to talk to, and maybe the people who are looking for jobs at certain companies as well, is like why companies would have challenges in
Yes.
terms of hiring,
Yes. Getting the
uh,
right people in their team.
getting the right people in their team. There's two aspects to that because, um, like if you're a company like ours, in an outsourcing agency, we always like we've divided them into two classifications. We have the people who are in production operations. They're the lifeblood of our company. We depend on them, and so we because obviously they're the ones who generate income for the company, so we want to make sure that we take care of them. In order
Yes.
to do that, we need to have a team in place that's
Yes.
able to take care of them
The
as well.
internal
So
team, yeah.
yeah, so there's two parts to that. Based on experience, I have had experiences where we you know say win a contract, and I'm going to be very transparent. There was one that still rankles when we were asked to look for an applications engineer role that was more in line with the web developer role.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
remember we put out we put out the hiring ad, and
Didn't get any.
we didn't get any. We didn't get any applications. Like, come on, people, why?
Here's a job waiting for you. Come
Yeah.
get it.
And
But no.
I don't know. It kind of hurt so bad that we didn't either get. I mean, we got some applications, but they were like the wrong ones. They were applying for a different thing, and maybe they just like, I mean, in every hiring, you're sifting through the fluff, and sometimes there's just people who are applying who clicked on the wrong application form, so we had to deal with that. Like where we thought we were going to get like 100 applications, we got, I don't know, 5, and all of them were like just the wrong people for the job, and I was like, what did we do wrong? And remember, I went up to you and I said, what did I do wrong?
I think with us, like just looking back about this job post, I think there were just a couple of things. This was a new avenue for us, right? Like a
It was a
new
very new
LOB
avenue
for
for
us.
us.
And
And that's
so
the reason
we were,
why I was so excited, because
yes,
it was an
a new
opportunity to
opportunity. Yeah.
expand to a different LOB that we could then, like build on and be another source that we could build expertise on, and
Yes.
and that. But I mean, it was pretty much that. But it had, I mean, I didn't even understand. I didn't even understand the job
I
application.
kind of know. Well, some points. Well, one, I think. Do you know where to look? for these people,
Yeah.
right? Because
And
our
we
forte is more on customer support.
first
We
line,
know,
yeah.
we know where to find the people that we need, where they go, where they're
Where they hang
actually
out.
hang out, or trying to get
Other
where
job.
they're looking at job posts, like where they actually are in Facebook.
Yes,
But
we
for
know where you live, we know where you work, we know where you hang out on Facebook, so we know where to find you, and you know obviously know where to find us.
Yeah. But hiring for a developer is an entirely different thing. You have to be posting somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And that, we're so used to in customer support that it's easier to sift through a lot of people. But this one is a little like the skill set that was needed for the
I
support for this application engineer is specialized.
I
And so they would go, sorry. So they would be in a different place. They're not going to be in the same place where customer support people are looking for job posts. They may be looking at, I think they have a different Facebook group as well as a different
LinkedIn
job site. Yeah,
groups,
LinkedIn
job
group.
sites,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think we weren't able to tap
Mhm.
into that.
I even tried activating networks and asking them where they are, and interestingly enough, my brother, who's a developer,
Didn't want to work for
didn't work for me. So I guess that's another topic. No, it's just he was knee deep and neck deep into his project, so he couldn't really spare the time to do that. However, like when you ask them, it turned out that the job here, even the talent pool, even here in the Philippines, is running scarce in terms of there's a
of the
scarcity in
application,
terms of
the web developer. Yeah,
web
yeah,
developers.
that's
Like
it.
you ask them, like, where are all your classmates? Like, they're all abroad, and apparently, because so to put this in the real sense, it wasn't only us. It turns out when we attended some
Yes, an event. Yeah,
meetings,
yeah.
some events where it turned out that a lot of companies had like a similar struggle
Yes,
in terms of
especially.
hiring. So although that was like a year after we had that, we just had that like little realization. Um, so maybe there's a scarcity for the talent that you're looking
Yes,
for. I would say that I
I mean,
wouldn't say it's exactly like no one wants to work there. It's just anybody who wants to work for the company probably has other options, and maybe would you say
maybe what could also be a factor is maybe the job description was too specialized, where
yeah.
not a lot of people actually, can tick all of the check boxes.
Yeah. And it can be pretty daunting if you have a job skill that you put in too many qualifications for
Yes.
that it's hard to get through all of that filter and get a necessary candidate. I think at that point I was willing to like maybe remove a few bullet points just to see if that changes the game in terms of like getting applicants.
I think we've had this experience with one of our job posts as well, where I had to change the actual position that it's called because no one understood what the original job post was.
No, I knew who that was.
I think it was the operations manager, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
Like they. Okay,
Well,
operations. Well, no, actually not operations manager. I'm blanking. Probably operations analyst. I think that like
Mm.
what
Oh, actually,
exactly?
what's an operations analyst? What do they
Yeah.
do? Like,
What exactly? Like even if you put it in that's one thing that companies can do is to describe it, in a much better way what this role actually
yeah, but the
entails.
problem is if you're an applicant and you're
Yeah,
scrolling
and
through
you're
like
scrolling
100
through.
different
Yes,
jobs,
yes, yes,
you're gonna look at operations analyst and it's like next.
yes.
And
Because
I think that's why you changed it to like what virtual assistant.
yes, because actually the role itself is a lot
It's
of process
reminiscent
and
of
data entry
yeah,
and admin tasks.
and
So
that simple change made all
yeah,
the difference. You were
made
able
all
to
the
hire right
difference.
away. Yeah. Um, again, it may not be reminiscent of like, wait, no one works for a company. It's just nobody understood the job application enough to say
Yes,
that's the job that I'm looking for, and
yes, yes.
therefore everybody kept skipping over that application. We sent it to several Facebook groups, but it kind of makes you understand what kind of impact you put out when you say I'm looking for this role and
Yes.
this is what the role title is supposed to be. You know, like, and the thing is that companies kind of make up all of these um
Names. Yeah.
yeah, technical success manager, like
VP of people.
be-
Sorry. But
oh
that's
my gosh.
true. I mean, that's true,
Yes.
right? But if you're in the HR industry, you understand
Whenever
what it is. But
you're
it's very new for
you're
me. Well, for me anyway.
you're talking about C, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Back
I'm
then.
talking about and I was like VP for people. Huh. I could be VP for people. Like what do you do?
Yeah.
But apparently, like when you're in a fast-paced moving company, you can either make up your role because your role becomes highly specialized enough
Yes.
that when you could you see, that's the thing, like when you move up into upper management, when they search for you in particular because you have a
Mm-hmm.
very particular skill set, you could actually say like, okay, this is going to be my role. And but eventually that's like how data scientists sort of like just evolve.
Yeah, data scientists.
And data analysts, and that didn't used to be a thing back then. But yeah, VP of people is technically more like talent acquisition,
Yes.
hiring,
HR.
HR.
Yep.
It's a
Yep.
very broad scope, and then they're just like, let's just call it people.
Because it's everything about the people in the
Yeah,
company. But anyway, going back,
it's a
just
very
yeah,
important stakeholder.
yeah, yes.
Mm.
Just clarity. Do you think that your job post is understandable by the market or by the applicants that you're gunning for?
Mhm.
It could be as simple as that,
Yeah.
right? Or does your job post have enough detail on it, so that someone who's looking for a job kind of already understands what they're going, you know, to go in for.
This sounds
Um,
like it's skewing more towards, like talent and acquisition people or HR roles.
hmm.
But yes, you're right. Everything you said was at the same time, being able to target the right, uh, like hangouts where these
Yes.
people can be found, like whatever, mouse hole you people are hiding. Can you get into those?
Yes.
Can
Yes.
you get into those, like, can I get in the bushes and say, there. But there's also, we're talking about hiring.
Hmm.
We talked about, the scarcity of the
Yes.
role in
Scarcity
your
of the role.
area.
Yeah.
Let's just gonna go back. Like that's one reason why
Yes.
globalization has been so important for
Yes.
to the success of a lot of companies. If you're a company who hasn't considered at the very least that the people that the talent that you're looking for might not be in your immediate vicinity, might not
Yes.
be in your same city, might not even be in the same country, let alone continent,
Yes.
then you might be doing your company a disservice because talent is out there. And with the rise of again globalization, the homogenization of the workplace, like
Hmm.
you could be anywhere and
Yes.
work just as
I
effectively.
mean, I mean, we've been doing it for the past few years because of the pandemic, right? People are
Yeah.
working from anywhere.
If
We,
anything,
yeah,
the pandemic proved that our business model
yes,
works just
works.
as easily as the traditional brick and mortar
Yeah,
companies. So, possibly instead of having to, uh, you know, continuously trying to offer higher and higher
mm-hmm.
compensation just to try to attract the right people, you're just trying to, sweeter and sweeter honey, you just like cast a bigger net.
But since we're talking about globalization, since you're putting these job posts online, it's also very important that you're protecting your company's reputation as well when it
Online.
online when it comes to how you're treating your people.
Oh, yeah.
Right. There are websites out there where applicants can go in and find out how previous employees have rated a specific company. Like I think Glassdoor has that, like
Mm-hmm.
companies and the reviews of previous employees. And so check those out. See what people are saying about your company. Maybe that's a reason why people are hesitant.
You know, uh, you're saying check your company's
Mm.
reputation, and it's very true. Where before you can only really tell your inner circle about your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, your
Yes.
company's reputation is just as easily rated as the worst Mexican food stall
Yeah.
in whatever city. It can happen.
Yes.
It's easy as Yelp. And if you haven't been careful in terms of nurturing your company's culture, you can actually be number one driving away employees,
Yes.
which in and of itself is bad. But now that they can leave their experience online, that's the single worst thing. How can you attract talent when you have
Yeah.
reputation?
Bad reviews about your company and
Mhm.
how it is to work for you.
And we're only talking about in terms of company culture.
Mm.
One thing that I've easily foreseen back then is, you know, how in order to stay competitive back then, you know, when you have the BPO industry, uh, it was just natural because of the demand for talent that
Mm-hmm.
companies keep changing their compensation package. You know, it
Yes.
started with, I mean, how was it back then? How was it back then? Amber grade?
11, 10,
10,
10.
13. I mean, we started at 10, 12,000, and then they're like, hey, this company is offering 13,000, and everybody just like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll transfer to your company, and then it becomes 14, 15,000, and then there's signing bonuses, and then you started adding like HMO on the first day.
Yes. Now it's a battle of benefits.
And
Yeah,
then the
yeah,
battle of
yeah,
hi-
yeah. I
and then
remember this.
yeah, and then the battle of hiring, like
Yeah.
one day hiring. Come in when the moment you come in, they put you down in a chair, put a headset.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I remember they held it in a mall.
They did.
Yeah, they
I
held it.
tried
Yeah,
it.
you did. Actually, I can't remember where it was, but I saw it. I think in
They had
Trinoma.
it
Yeah,
in. I remember they had it in Trinoma.
but
They
it
would
was a
have this
battle of
hiring.
like benefits and all.
Mm.
I think there were like even bonds will give you. Yeah, like
The,
sorry, signing bonus. Sorry, not bonds.
there's the signing
Signing
bonus.
bonus. Yeah, there was even that. I mean,
Double your salary in the next 2 months if you pass the day. And for me, that was a sign that it was getting harder and harder for
mhm.
people to hire the
It's
same
like a
talent because
it's
they're
like a
just
price war at that
it
point.
became yeah that became a total price war. And sometimes obviously eventually it becomes harder and harder for people to keep the people that you have if you can't keep up with the
With yeah,
competition.
yes, the competition. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
So
But
I
that was
mean,
just
apart from the benefits, I think uh, we didn't. Well, we could discuss about the compensation that you've actually attached to your job post as well, right? I mean,
mhm.
you're talking about the benefits already, but the very first part of it, which you also said about the 10,000,
Mhm.
13,000, is the salary or the rate that you're offering competitive enough for that kind of market? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, right? Like if you're a developer and you're what going to give them 10,000, you're not gonna
No.
get someone at that price. And so you would have to do your research and see what other companies are
Are offering.
offering. Like some companies, like startup companies, are really aggressive. They would actually pay a lot more just to attract. Like they will pay a lot more just to attract
You
the
know
talent.
how competitive the tech space is. You
Hmm.
know, like
Yeah.
again, quote unquote, I've had somebody say, you know, I'm a developer. I have options
Yes.
because they really absolutely do. Like,
Hmm.
you know, people are ready to kidnap developers. People are ready to kidnap developers and then tie them to a chair and say, work for us. If that's what it takes. You know, I think it's come to a point where it's not even attractive enough to offer a high salary, good
Hmm.
compensation, good benefits. You have to have good reputation, and you have
Yes.
to have the opportunity to let this person grow into a role, make a
Yes.
solid contribution, make
Yes,
an impact in
exactly.
all of them, you know,
Exactly.
Gen Z.
Different people have different purpose
Mm-hmm.
on why they want to be in one company, which we kind of also said earlier. But like some people would want to be in a company that would make an impact,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Or some
So
people would want to work for a company that has rollerballs for chairs.
yes.
Like, oh no, rollerballs, no beanbags. can't. I can't even. I can't even imagine. And it's just that, it's the kind of thing that attracts people. And you've seen some of the more, like, I wouldn't call it weird, but it's just like, okay, it's bordering on weird for me personally,
Mm.
to like, how else can we make the company attractive? Oh, I know, a fireman's pole
Bull. Yeah, I've seen these.
or a slide
Yeah, a slider. Swings.
or swings
Swings.
or meditation areas, like a fake grass facing the window, and they're like, yes, this is the company that I want to work for, because they have a piece of their building with fake grass and a window
Or
to.
even like game stations where.
Oh, that's been around for so
Yeah,
long.
well,
Like,
that's true.
my previous company had foosballs,
Mm.
and you know sleeping areas,
Sleeping areas, yeah,
and
I've
free, whatchamacallit, vending
vending
machines.
free coffee
Yeah.
like all day, every
I
day.
mean, back in my day.
Coffee.
Back in my day.
That's how old he is, people.
Back in my day, there was like, free coffee. Sign me up.
But yeah, now it's a battle of
And now
like
I
the
have coffee for lunch.
workspace. Yeah. But I think it really I no, I think a really really huge part of it is how are you treating your employees right
Yeah.
now.
And you have,
People talk.
yeah, yeah, and you kind of have to be ready to just match the investment, to understand like what kind of investment you can. Sorry, profit you can bring in. You have to be ready to match that kind of investment. So you have reputation,
Mm.
not venue. Sorry, location
Mm-hmm.
is almost key nowadays.
Yes.
You can't even build it. Like even Makati Central Business District is not enough to attract the
Mm-hmm.
younger, hipper
Yes.
generation. Try to put a company there, and it's like, I mean, let's be honest. People look at Makati CBD as the older,
Yeah, the older
uh,
businesses. Yeah, yeah, that's
literally
true.
the older business district. It's like, it's where people come in full suits and troll suits, and then you have people with other cities with better reputations. Like, you could dress up and look like you're a walking Uniqlo ad or an H&M ad, and or
Yeah.
worse, if you're trendier, you're like walking around with Louis Vuitton paper bags,
You know what's
like a walking
interesting?
Shein ad.
You know what's interesting nowadays is there's also a lot of talk about is the company aware of all the issues that are going around mental health,
Mm-hmm.
right? Gender awareness,
Mm-hmm.
gender sensitivity,
Inclusion.
inclusion, right?
Yeah, like,
Are,
do you come in and immediately are asked like, what pronouns do you use?
mhm.
Like me, I.
Yeah, a few years ago there wasn't any of that.
There's
A few
nothing
years
like
ago,
that. I
yeah.
mean, and we actually had our first, not I guess not our first, but some of the biggest slap in the face. Like, we had this amazing talent that joined us recently, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had to deal with that kind of. It's a little segue, but it's like, um, we had to really look at ourselves and say, why didn't we see this in the first place?
Yes.
Because we had to deal with
Changing the
accidentally using our talent's dead name,
yes.
much to my much to my
I
I'm so
know.
I was so
I
sad that I
know.
wasn't
I'm
sensitive enough to catch it, considering that we were supposed to be the first people to champion that,
Yes.
and see, that's the thing. That was great talent that we might have lost
Yes.
if we weren't
Chased
quick
away.
enough. Yeah, we
You
might
know.
have chased away, or what's even worse, as much as you know, to have that kind of reputation among the LGBTQIA
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
LMNOP community, uh, my community, can't bash me.
That's why he said it.
That's why I said it. But yes, be able to say, should we encourage our employees to be open about the, gender or how they identify themselves. It's actually one of the biggest things right now that
Yes.
that a lot of talent acquisition people are going through in terms of like training. How can we be more sensitive to not
Yes.
drive away these kinds of talent? And you know that a lot of brick and mortar companies, like the more established, older, I'm just gonna say it out loud, older companies are maybe just not as attuned to. Just
Yeah.
imagine when you say, maybe we're not talking like why no one wants to work at your company, but what if they're losing the opportunity to hire
Yeah.
great talent by not being that kind
Sense.
of
Yeah, sensitivity to like inclusion, mental health,
yeah,
and things
and
like that. Yeah.
understanding that. I mean, we've even come a long way in terms of, I mean, just even women in the workplace.
Yes.
It used to be that, I mean, just be open with it. Like, there was a time when women were like lower on the hiring list because you automatically lose 1 week out of the month,
Yeah.
and then 2 months if you get pregnant, and then you have to pay for benefits. But that's not enough to say this is the kind of talent or output that they can give to the company, that it's well worth being able to offer them and say, yes, we understand that you sometimes pop out humans from time to time, or go through human reproduction related stuff, and that's worth your talent. That is worth your talent. And it's the same thing with inclusion. Like, okay, you want to identify as non-gender, non-binary, zeros and ones, pansexual. Tama ba? Pansexual.
Yeah, pansexual.
Right.
Companies have to understand, as much as you're trying to find the right fit for your company, applicants are also trying to find the right fit for them. For them.
And that's just as important. Like, you can't just say, work for us because we have work to offer you.
Yes.
You have to be able to say,
When I just said, come and get it. I'm kidding.
your job.
Your job, come and get
What?
it.
It's not enough.
No, it's not
In
enough.
in a world that's increasingly attempting to reward yourself, because it kind of used to be that you come to work, get on the rat race, and then
Yeah, and
die
stay
when
and
you're
even stay for the company for decades.
decades. And that's not even like right now. If you like, why did you stay in that company for 5 years? And it's like, I like the company, and then you're like, no raise, no movement, no. That's to your detriment. If you're an employee right now who's like,
Yeah, sorry. No, that's
Yeah.
a good thing that you actually also touch on is career growth.
Uh-huh.
Other applicants will actually be more interested if there's a clear path for career growth. And sometimes it's not always the positions, right? Like managerial or
Or
whatnot.
sometime-
But it could be as simple as or as basic as, will I be learning more or will I be challenged in this job? But
like,
of
what
course, the
made
more
you leave
traditional one.
what made you leave your old job? It's like, I wasn't learning.
Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
growing.
yeah, and we've heard that, and we've heard that from what do you call this? From our applicants,
Yeah.
right?
Now, to be fair, I will say that there are jobs that don't actually have career paths.
Yes,
And that is a lot of what outsourcing does. They need tier ones. So I'm not even ashamed to say that, like in our case, there may be limited paths towards growth or changing careers, even not unless you're moving from one contract to another. But at the very least, in our case, I would say the transparency is there.
yes,
Are you happy doing this for maybe the rest of your life?
maybe not the rest
No,
of
no,
your
no,
life.
not that. Sorry. But it's I'm exaggerating, but like, this is the job for the foreseeable future.
Yes,
Because that's the contract that we negotiated with the client. This is what they need done. Will we eventually be able to grow and move on? As the relationship goes, possibly. But let's be honest. I'm being honest with you now that this is what we got for you. Is that what you want? At least you can talk about, like, this is like a long term version of like why you don't want for a company is being able to say, if you work for us, what do you see for yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
If they say that this is what I'm looking for, then come here, babe. Come here. Come on over. Join me.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's be happy doing the same thing for the next 3 to 5 years. And like I said, if they say that there's going to be something new out there for them, then that's when, you amicably part ways, because the understanding and the expectation setting was there. Like, this is the length and breadth of your relationship.
So as far as hiring challenges go, I think companies, apart from you really have to look internally. We've mentioned even as simple as the job post, changing the job position name so that people would understand. Is it detailed enough for people to understand and know this is what I'm in for? There's also
Are you a company that people want to work for?
based on your online reputation or what your previous employees or even current employees are saying about you. Are you pricing your job competitively?
Are you
Right.
pricing your job competitively? Because if you haven't noticed, everything is online.
Yes.
So when you say like, this is the job that we're offering,
So easy to
it's
compare.
so easy to compare it with other companies out there. Now, of course, there are subtle differences, right? But if your price point is way too low, or I don't know about the way too high part, but if your price point is way too low, then you're obviously going about it wrong, when they could as easily say, uh, especially if there are competitor companies who are also hiring for the same
Yes.
position, there's no reason for them to choose you, not unless their crush works there.
And then the other thing is the scarcity factor, especially for job posts that are very specialized, like development and whatnot. Like you have, because coding languages, like they update almost every month, I think, or every year, right? I think the one thing that I will say about the scarcity factor is you must be willing to train if
Oh
there's
my gosh, if
scarcity
you're
of talent for that specific job post. If you've looked at your job post, you've looked at is the salary offering competitive, you've looked at your company reputation and it's all good, but then you also look at your job post, it's very specialized, then be willing to train.
Yeah. I mean, you might be able to hire somebody green who has like 80% of everything that you're asking for, but you have to be willing to say, this is the best that I can get. Let me take him from 80% to 100.
Yes.
But more importantly, once you get somebody like that, you have to be able to say, I took you from 80 to 100. Now let me take you from 100 to the next level, because
Yes.
that now fosters
Growth.
loyalty,
Yes.
growth, loyalty, and at the same time, you kind of want to do right by that person.
Yeah.
That eventually, if you build up enough of that skill set, that he might qualify for a job that offers higher, and you should be happy
Yes.
if that opportunity comes. Simply because, if you can't offer that, you just have to be willing to take on
Yeah.
somebody who's green again, and then train them again to
Yes.
get to another level. But like I said, ultimately, those are the breaks. If you can't hire somebody at 100, you
Yeah.
have to go look back at yourself. Or at the very least, you have to be able to tell yourself that this is the best that we can get, because this is what we have to offer. This is where we are located. This is our reputation. This is the best that we're gonna get. Like, you can't come back to your team and say, HR, why can't you? Sorry, this is too loud. Sorry, HR recruitment. Why can't you hire the people that I'm looking for? Those people are going to go up in arms and then leave bad reviews again.
Yes. True. Very
and then
true.
leave bad reviews again.
So those are just a few of the hiring challenges that
if you
we
are
see. Yeah.
if you're a new business and you feel like you're trying to put yourself out there, attract talent, and you seem to be hitting those kinds of roadblocks, go back and ask yourself, what's the reason why I can't hire anybody beyond this guy?
Beyond this guy.
Beyond this guy. Like, this is the best that I can do. The question always is, it's not always, maybe I should offer more money.
Yeah, it's
You
not
should,
always that.
yeah, you might be able to say, so what would make you come over to us? Because it's somehow at this point it's the other way around. How can I make you work for me, as opposed to why should we hire
You,
you?
yeah.
And if they say I want to be able to um take my days off when I ask for it without interruption, because that's family time. You have to respect that. If they
Yes.
say I have certain health conditions that where I can only work Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, Fridays.
Yeah, the landscape right now is really very people centric, and which is why we've talked about inclusion, mental
Yeah.
health. It's very people centric,
And
employee
I think
centric.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Some people call them snowflakes. I think they just learned how to get what they want. Like it's corporations, and they say like back in my day, my boss would, my boss would demand me to work from 8 a.m. to 8 in the evening, and then I was working my best, but it was never enough, and it made me stronger.
Yeah.
No, you're about to die, dude.
Yes.
You're about to die. You lost a good part of your life to that company, and no, you guys understand, when you're done with the company is not going to mourn your loss, right? They
Mm.
won't. They'll move on to the next person that they can drive to death if possible.
So maybe not drive them to that is that
To
the
resignation. But you understand what I'm saying, dude. I'm talking to two different sides. I'm talking to a lot of people right now. If
yeah.
you're an employee who thinks that that's the way, kinda isn't. And if you're a company who thinks that should be the way, think
Yeah,
again.
think again. I really think again.
Because you're really not going to get anybody at this point, because right now you have to understand how the currents shift, how people want to
Yes.
be hired, how people
Absolutely.
you know like like ask yourself, if this person can give me the same output that I asked for, even if they are off limits on weekends, or even off limits after 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Actually,
how
yeah,
you know
it's
how
a
we kind of have that strict rule nowadays, like if I am away, I am
oh wait.
away. Don't knock at my imaginary door, don't try to text me. Or if you text me, you can just say like, this is for tomorrow.
Yeah.
you know but yeah, that's how the landscape, the employment landscape is changing, and it's changing for the better, in my
Yes.
opinion.
Yes. Absolutely. I agree with that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Or like, maybe if you're a brick and mortar company, just close down. I'm
Maybe
kidding.
maybe pivot rather than close down.
No,
Just
definitely
think
pivot,
again and pivot. Um
because
yeah.
there's a great workforce out there. If you've seen what we've seen in terms of like, startups,
Yes.
it's so great. It's colorful. It's multicultural. It's just amazing to be a part of. Like, even if, in our capacity as outsourced providers, uh, when we land that contract, and then we inevitably, even as owners, immerse
Mm-hmm.
ourselves into their culture, I I get to see it, and I want it to be what we do
Yes.
for our team as well. Like, I've never seen Pride more celebrated in one of our accounts than than that. Or dude, there's this one account where there's one account where, because one of their companies is in Sweden. Sorry, Switzerland, Sweden,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Scott. It
S.
starts
It's
with an
an
S.
S.
And they were like, they have holidays every other week. It's like,
This is so cool.
and they have 1 month off.
For
There's a
what?
month-long holiday.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's like they have summers off. Like, everybody is okay. So everybody in the something, the S office, will be off for 1 month. I was like, and you just let them? And they were like, yeah, because and they respect all of those things. Holidays kind of makes me want to make those changes and try to impose them as well. Like, even though we're outsourced, you know, there's a way to make that happen. Yeah, I mean, there's some skeleton BCP that the reason why we're included, but where we can possibly make it happen, I feel like we should. But
One
it's
month off?
well, let's move to Sweden. Sweden, Switzerland, Sweden, Switzerland. I can't remember which country that is, but there you go. I mean, I would say that just going back, how that landscape is changing. If you are having trouble
Getting
in
some,
terms of
yeah.
getting people, the right talent that you want, it's time to come back, check,
Yes.
check yourself, check your boots, check your Instagram, check Glassdoor where your reputation is, check
Yes.
your, I don't know, LinkedIn, Instagram. Maybe you're on Yelp. I don't know if you're a restaurant, but check your reviews. You could probably see a lot about yourself and why
Yes.
you're having difficulty. Why people don't want to work for you or with you.
Yes.
Yeah, and there have been times when, you know, we've seen and been iffish about a potential client simply because like, looks weird.
Well, it doesn't look weird, but it looks like the culture isn't what we're
What we're and
wanting
we kind
our
of don't
people
want
to
to
be in.
subject,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's kind of worth saying no to a client that rather than just. So do we want to subject people that we hire to be in that culture?
Yes.
I just realized we've experienced something like that. Like, not even get us excited. Like, not even the prospect of new business or profit is enough for us to even pursue.
Yeah. Getting, yeah.
Yeah, a potential client. But yeah, I mean that gave me so much to think about.
Yeah. About our own company. Yeah, it
Or
does.
about yeah, I mean just to think about in general, but yes, about our team, about the clients that we work with, about people who are potentially out there listening and having maybe the same problems. But if you have something to say,
Yeah.
please go ahead and say it.
If you want to share any red flags that you look for when you're trying to look for a job, please do comment. We want to hear about it.
If we missed it, maybe we'll bring
Yeah.
it up again. um I'd absolutely love to hear you guys' thoughts there, because I feel that just from our limited experience in terms of being in terms of interacting with teams, companies, people that we've been around, our circle is still relatively small.
Yes.
But if again you have something to add, please let us know. If it helps us grow or maybe add additional topics, we'd love to hear it. And of course, if you are listening to us up until this point, we appreciate you so much. Please feel free to, if you haven't, subscribe
Yes.
to all of our social media channels. And thank you for listening to our podcast. This has been Outsourcing and More. I am Francis.
My name's Penny.
We thank you. See you on our next episode.
Bye.